What is up, everybody? This is Devin LaVore coming at you. Huge thank you to those who responded to our last video. It definitely helped. It definitely got us very close to where we needed to be. And man, we just can't thank you enough. It was a huge blessing. It's funny because in the last video, I was just being real. I was just like, man, we are going through it. This is like for real deal, like a going through it type of thing. And I'm just like, okay, Lord, you are going to make us, you are going to get us through. You are the one who led. You're going to get us to the end, you know? It might be stormy. It might seem like you're sleeping in the boat, but you're not. But the bottom line is, if you said we're going to get to the other side, we're going to get to the other side. And we will just keep going until, you know? And that's kind of what this video is about. But huge thank you to those who gave to us. It was just, it goes without saying. And if you want to give, the Cash App and Venmo and PayPal links are below. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about. There's probably only a few. But one of the things that the Lord has really put on my heart during this whole, I don't even know what to call it. Like, what are we going through? I think we're going through it as individuals. I think we're going through it as churches, as families, as nations. I just think we're just going through this storm. And I think there's coming upheavals that are yet to happen. There's some stuff in the works that's yet to happen. And it's like, Lord, why are we going through this? I feel like the Lord's given me some insight as to why. But one of the things that I feel like this video really wants to focus on, or needs to focus on, is God's faithfulness. And one of the things that the Lord has been showing me, it's like, yes, it's different. Listen to this. I feel like the Lord is even adding to what I was going to say already. I feel like the Lord is saying, yes, it is different, but I am not. You know what I'm saying? The situations may be different, but I am not. You know, what was before is no longer, but I am still here. And my plan for you is still a go. It's still green light, thumbs up. And so a lot of times, even in a weird situation that me and my family find ourselves in, it's an unconventional way of life. And God clearly showed himself to be in it. Doesn't matter what the detractors and opinions are. God shows himself. He shows himself to be involved, right? It's like, it doesn't matter like where you're at in life, what you're doing. Whether it be the most normal thing, whether it be exciting, mundane, weird and off the wall. If God is in it, you know, then he's going to show himself to be in it. What God is doing, I believe, in the earth is like a tossed salad. You know, some of us are lettuce, some of us are tomatoes, some of us are shredded carrots, some of us are croutons. I'm with the crouton family, or, you know, the crudes ton family. Anyway, that was a pretty terrible joke. But anyway, it's like, and God's just tossing it. And it just looks weird, you know? I think some of the things, a lot of the things that God does, even when you just read the Bible, it's like, wow, that's weird. Oh, wow, that's a different way to do that. That I would have never thought to do that. You know, because that is God. When you find yourself being led by the Spirit, I'm talking about really truly led by the Spirit, not led by your desires and, well, God told me, and it's really just your desire telling you. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who are really truly led by the Spirit of God. You will find yourself doing weird stuff. That is just the truth. Or you might find yourself doing the same mountain over and over and over and over and over and over. And if you do that long enough, you might find that, okay, this seems mundane, but actually it's kind of weird. Aren't we supposed to grow or go beyond or do something else, But it's like, but if the Lord's leading, it's like you could be going around that mountain 400 times. And you're like, dang, this is weird. Oh, it's not so mundane anymore, is it? It's not so boring. It's not so normal anymore. It's weird, just right. Because a lot of times God leads us into weird things. And I just believe that one of the things that the Lord has shown me, he's like, Devin, I don't really care what it looks like. I am going to support you until. And I felt like there was this person that came to my mind. And I felt like, okay, they have this physical illness, right? And I felt like the Lord was saying, even for that situation, it's like, I am going to be with that person, taking care of that person until the healing arrives, And there's a person that's looking to cross from one place in their career to the next place in their career. And another person is waiting to cross from one part of their ministry into another part of their ministry, into this new thing that God has for them. It's like God's like, I'm going to sustain you and keep you going until. I'm going to keep you from losing your mind until. And then once you get to the until part, you're going to be okay then, you're going to be fine, And so I just feel like part of this message is until. But then I feel like another part of the message is God has been taking us. There's a certain group of people. I will call them forerunners. I call them pioneers. They might be like the priests in Joshua's day. There's a certain group of people that the Lord just had you isolated and preparing you because he's going to have you go into the proverbial Jordan ahead of the rest of the nation. So God's going to do a thing. He's doing this move. There's this move of God to bring about restoration of the nation, to bring about truth and faithfulness in a nation, to bring back in God we trust into the nation, into your nation, even if you're not an American, God first everywhere, right? But it's like there's certain people that he has called out of the norm. And we're just ones that you can watch because we have a YouTube channel kind of documenting parts of our journey through the out of the norm, and it's lasted way longer than anyone even us imagined it would. I think that's why some people just kind of fall off the map because they get, eventually you get tired of your story. And they're like, well, call me when you get to the end and then I'll celebrate with you. It's like, okay, that's fine. But that's why I praise the Lord for those who are still with us and continue to give to us. It's like, wow, that's just proof that God's just in it, It continues to prove to us over and over again. But the Lord has called us out of the norm because we're not normal. Okay? We are his normal. And so everything that we do as we obey the Spirit, God looks at that and goes, okay, now that's normal. That's exactly the original design. That's the whole intent and purpose of man, is that you walk with me, you fellowship with me, and you go with me, you cooperate with me, and we do life together. That was the whole point from before the fall. And so when you're walking by the Spirit, you're partaking in that eternal restoration that the cross afforded you. The whole purpose of the cross was that you can now be led by the Spirit of God and not by your own desires and your own flesh. We can live for him and not for ourselves. That's all Bible, right? And I believe, but there's a people that God has called and set apart to go into the Jordan first, meaning to go ahead of the rest of the nation, because I feel like God is saying, I need to set up my pillars first so that I can wrap the church around it. I can wrap and so then the nation actually has something to go to. Does this make sense? It's like God is setting up pillars, and then he's going to bring in the rest of the people of God, and then the whole nation will have a light to see. I am not disrespecting churches and church models or anything like that. No, I'm not doing that. I'm just saying, like, there is a thing that God is doing, and it is real, where he's pulling people out of the norm of everything, out of the norm of education, work, everything, just everything. God just pulled you out. You've been in this strange place, for a long time. Now, maybe to other people, they look on your life and they say, whoa, that's weird. And some people, they're looking at your life and they're going, oh, okay, there's nothing abnormal or different, but the life that you're living, God's just doing a thing in your life, and your home life is so different, and your people might see you at work and go, oh, well, you're just normal Sally and you're normal Joe, and it's like, no, if you only knew, if you only knew. But I feel like the Lord is saying he has called you out, called these people out into this wilderness time that we have gone through also ourselves, to be prepared for what he's going to do in us, to set us up as beacons of hope and light. Because I believe that there are some difficult times coming. It's not just difficult times, but there are, I mean, the reason why God's done what he's done is not just because there's difficult times coming. He wants to make us pillars in his house. Like extremely, extremely faithful and dependable. No scandals, no breaking, no shattering, no pulling down, no demonic things coming in and pushing the pillars down. None of that stuff, And God's like, I gotta form you in secret before I reveal you in the open, And I just believe that that's what's happening. And I believe that there is a group of priests. Just do the Joshua and the nation crossing the Jordan picture, right? There's a group of priests. There's a company of priests that God's taking into that Jordan of time. And he's going to part time. I know that sounds weird, but he's going to part the waters of time. He's going to part the flow of events that are going to be happening in time are not going to affect you. You're going to be separated. You're going to be in this isolated, separated place. It's going to be a new miraculous place that God's going to put you in. And then the rest of the nation, the rest of the people of God are going to cross over into this new, particularly here in the United States of America, there's going to be a new America. There's going to be a new, Joseph Z talked about this, actually. He talked about this thing. I don't remember. Michelle knows more about this stuff than I do. But because when I was getting it from the Lord, I was like, wait a minute, didn't you told Joseph Z this like 2 years ago? I feel like I'm repeating something someone else said. But that's what the Lord was showing me. There's a new America getting ready to emerge. But there's going to be a group of people he's going to send ahead into this miraculous time for them. And they're going to be holding the word. They're going to be holding the Spirit and the word just like they've always done in the wilderness. They're going to be upholding the word and the Spirit. And it's going to be a light for a lot of people in the dark times ahead. And it's going to lead them into a place of safety and prosperity. But then the rest of the nation is going to come into this new America, whatever it looks like. And that's why the Lord has taken us through what he's taken us through. That's why the Lord has set aside this group of people the way he set us aside, and from all walks of life, doing all kinds of different things. Some of them look weird, some of them look normal. I'm sure we fall into the weird category, but whatever. Because on a prophetic numbers thing, I have been getting the number 2000 a lot. And it just would pop up at me. I'm just like, God, how am I supposed, 2000, what is the 2000? And the Lord, literally last night, the Lord showed me. And he was saying it was about 2,000 cubits of space between the priest that went into the Jordan, and God parted the waters and all that, and then the rest of the nation. behind. And the Lord said, I'm the one keeping that space of distance. And then that's where all that came out about, you're going in first because I need to set you up first, and then the rest of the nation can come. And I thought, whoa, that's cool. I don't even know what all that means, if I'm being totally honest, but it helped to make sense to us, like, oh, again, the Lord provides this revelation as an encouragement for us to know, like, oh, that's what we're doing. We're doing this thing in the story and space and time of God, and it looks weird, but not to him. To us and a lot of other people, it looks weird, but it might make sense to your life as well if you recognize, like, man, God has set you apart and he's doing all these very different things, and he's leading you the way he's leading you because he's preparing you for what's coming. This great move of God, but it's also going to be on the backdrop of some very difficult things going on, particularly in our nation, but I believe it's going to have a global impact. And the Lord's like, I am going to be with you until. And then it makes sense because Jesus said to his own disciples before he ascended, I am with you always even until the end of the age. So he's always here. He's here right now as I'm doing this video. And there's a flow of the Spirit. It's like, God really, I just pray that God would show us. God is going to show us. It's not so much a prayer. It's more of like a prophetic declaration. It's like, God's going to show us how he truly values those who are faithful. Because in order to be found faithful, you have got to go through some stuff, and you can't quit. You have to go through so many dimensional, various things, and you can't quit. And God's going to show. It's that Luke 12:37, Luke 12:44 thing where he's like, I'm going to demonstrate to you. Like Mordecai being honored by King Ahasuerus in Esther's time. I'm going to show you what I do for those I honor, And I think that's why we're going in first. There's a sense of you're coming in first to see what God's going to do, and then the rest. I don't know what that means. I don't even know what that means as far as time frame is concerned. I don't know. But there's a sense of honor coming to those who have been faithful, and it's just going to be cool. And so, man, I hope that blessed you guys. It's very much a to be continued. There's more to the story kind of video, right? But yeah, that is what God is doing right now. That's what he's saying. And we are just so honored and privileged and delighted to be in this situation, even though we go through so much difficulty and heartache and wonder and questions and all that. But you know what's interesting? Jesus' own disciples went through the same thing, and he was right there with them. They could come right up to his face and ask him questions, and he could answer them right then. And they still had questions and wonderings. And Lord, you said this, and then it goes into their mind, and they're thinking, oh, okay, this. And then the Lord goes this way instead of this way. It's like, wait, what? I thought, Lord, I thought. And he was right there with them, and they suffered that. So if you feel like you're suffering that and how the Spirit of God's leading you, well, welcome to being a disciple of Jesus. And so, I really feel like there's a continuation to this story. So we'll see what more the Lord would have me share as the days go on. But again, huge thank you to those who responded to our video. And we're just going to see God continue to be faithful through all of this. And, as long as he's in it, he's not done. Amen. And so, so God bless you guys. And until next video, bye-bye.